It was kind of this like domino effect of everything imploding, and I couldn't fix anything anymore. I couldn't manage anything anymore, and it was to a point where no matter what I did in any aspect of my life, it just wasn't working. I felt like I was dying, and I didn't know what to do. Code 4 gave me options that I didn't know existed. I actually had no interest in the fire service at all. I had initially wanted to be a veterinarian, so I had a friend who was a firefighter paramedic who asked me to come do some ride-alongs. Thought, I guess I can give this EMT thing a try. And as I started to get involved in the fire service and doing fire academies, I started to develop a passion for the job, getting to do things that most people don't get to do, especially as a woman, was just so rewarding. What an honor it is to sacrifice my time and, potentially even my life in order to give somebody else a second chance at theirs. About once a year, I would have some kind of breakdown where everything would go terrible and I would have to shut down, decompress, get control over my life again, and I would. Over the last couple of years, those reset periods I would have would happen more intensely, or they would last longer, and they were starting to happen more frequently. I had abandonment by both of my parents at a very young age. My dad leaving me when I was 4, my mom locking me in bedrooms of drug houses for days at a time, and being forgotten about essentially. And throughout my life, I always kind of had this default of I had to hustle for my worth in order to not be left alone to die, essentially. I responded to an incident. I had a 9-year-old cardiac arrest patient who died, and she was laying alone in the living room underneath the blanket all by herself, and no one cared about her, and I saw myself. And in that moment, I had this light bulb of, oh my gosh, maybe the way that I've been living my life and the way I've been feeling about myself isn't normal. I started to have these ideas of self-harm, which is completely out of character for me. And I decided to get in my car and I started to call my friends. Of course, there are cars coming at me in oncoming traffic, and I'm holding the steering wheel and I'm thinking to myself, like, all it would take is just a shift and it would be over. And as the car was approaching me, I hit the call button one last time. My friend answered the phone and saved my life. I had this overwhelming sense of impending doom, and what am I going to do? I actually had heard of a company called Code 4 Northwest, tried to explain to the people on the phone to the best that I could how I was feeling, not really knowing what my needs were. Within, I think, a week of that phone call, I was on a plane headed someplace to get some help. I was in a facility with police officers, firefighters, getting to build relationships in that environment with people who are like-minded individuals, professionals, allowing them to see me in my darkest moments, getting to see them in their darkest moments, and still having these strong relationships where we could look each other in the eye and love each other anyway was huge. When I got home, I had this huge sense of peace, which I don't know that I've ever felt in my entire life. Code 4 essentially lit a fire under me and said, listen, you are not alone. There are options. We can fix you. And we are gonna be here every step of the way, before, during, and after, to make sure that you're okay. And to have complete strangers not only hear me and see me, but to devote themselves to my wellness and my recovery was unlike anything I have ever experienced in my entire life. And it was really neat to actually see other people do for me what I have been doing for other people.